On the left, I created a table which has patient test results. On the right, I created a table which acts as a database indicating the high and low values for each test. Based on the result of the test, I'd like to know if the status is high, low, or OK. In column E, I used a formula which uses two values to perform an XLOOKUP. The way I did this is by using true or false logic, which can also be considered ones or zeros. Let's take a quick look at that. This is going to make the formula really easy to understand. So, on the table on the left, my results table, I have hemoglobin and adult highlighted in yellow. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the test column and the group column of my thresholds table over here to confirm which row matches both those criteria, right? So it really should be this row here, hemoglobin and adult. So what I'm going to do, I'll just type in equals, I'm going to type in my table name, thresholds, and right now I'm going to compare the test column. So I'll just put that square bracket, type in test, close the square bracket, equals, and in this case here, we want it to be hemoglobin. I'm going to put a $ in front of the 3 so it becomes an absolute reference. So each row in my thresholds table will be compared to hemoglobin. I'm going to hit enter, and you can see it returned false, 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 true, 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 right? So all the rows that had hemoglobin have that true value. We're going to do the same thing with group now. So I'm going to type in equals threshold, put in the square bracket, reference the group column, equals, and in this case here it's going to be C3 adult, and I'll make that an absolute reference again. I'm going to put the $, hit enter, and we have the same result again, but this time what we'll see is that it's referring to adult. Now let's do a quick simple multiplication here. So I'm going to do equals N2 times O2, hit enter, and I always find that interesting, right? So keeping in mind the 1 and 0 logic, false times true returned a 0 because it's 1 times 0. So let's just drag that down, and I should only have one result that brings back a 1. And there it is. And if we look over here in our thresholds table, it is the row that corresponds to hemoglobin and adult. So this is really the nuts and bolts of what the formula is doing. Hopefully I properly explained the true or false ones and zeros concept of the formula. Now to further deepen our understanding, I'm going to just build out an XLOOKUP using that logic, right? So let's go to our table on the left, which is the results table, and I'm going to add a column called high. And I'm going to just use this column to look up what the high value is of each test, right? So we're going to type in equals XLOOKUP. Right? Our lookup value is going to be 1, as we know that this is going to represent the true value. Right? Our lookup array, I'm going to put this in brackets. It's going to be thresholds, and our first lookup array will be test, right? Equals potassium. And I'm going to close out that bracket, and we want to multiply that by, we'll put it in brackets again, threshold, and this time by group. So we'll just select group. Here we are. Close that out. Equals adult. And now our next argument is going to be the return array. So we want to return the high value. So I'm just going to type in thresholds, and we'll specify high. Close that out. And let's close out our XLOOKUP function. And I'm going to hit enter. And there we go. So it just automatically filled in all the rest of our rows over here in the table, and so now we can see what the high value is. Alright, so let's just take a quick look at what I did in column E with my formula. Right, so we now know how to do an XLOOKUP based on multiple criteria, and so what I did is I nestled the XLOOKUP function into an if function. Right, so if we look at the result in column D for potassium adult, the result is 6.2, right, for John Smith in my first row. And so is that high, low, or is that okay? Well, I just used the XLOOKUP function to look that up, right? So in my first argument, I'm saying is the result low, so I look it up, and if it is lower than low, then I want to return low. The second argument within the formula is if it's higher than high, I want it to return high. If it's not any of those, then I just want it to return OK. And so there you can see that's the formula, right? I think it's pretty straightforward. Alright, so now that we got all the hard stuff out of the way, let's just put in our final touches, conditional formatting and data validation, right? So what I'll do here is for data validation, I just want to make sure that if I add a new record to my results table, that we have data that actually exists in our thresholds table, so we don't get an error on the XLOOKUP, right? So what I'll do is I'm just going to highlight the column. I'm going to go to the data menu and we will go into data validation. We want that to be a list, and so in this case here my list is column test in my thresholds table. So I'm just going to hit OK, and now you can see that all of that information is in the drop down over here on my results table. And what's nice is if I do add a new record to my thresholds table, so I don't know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head here, but let's just say I just want to add my name, right, Jason, and I'll hit enter. If I come to my drop down list, I have Jason available, and repeat those steps for the group column. You'll also want to format the status column maybe based on the results, right? So color code it based on high, OK, low. So to do that, just select the entire row, go to conditional formatting, new rule, and in this case here you could use a formula. I'm going to go to classic and I'm going to just type in format only cells that contain, and in this case here specific text, we'll type in high, and then you'll just need to repeat these steps for OK and low as well. So in this case here I have high will come back as red. I'm going to hit OK, and this changed any result that was high into red. Like I said, repeat those steps for OK and low. And one final thing, in case you're wondering how to create a table, pretty simple. Just click anywhere. So if we go back to my table over here where I gave the example earlier, just click anywhere in that group of cells, go to insert, select table. It's going to automatically highlight the range where the data is, right? And we'll leave my table has header selected, hit OK, and then if you want to change the name, you'll notice you now have a table tab or menu when you click in the table, and you can change that name over here. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you have a chance. Thanks for watching.